What does it take to stand on top of the world, not just once, but 7 times? The Seven Summits Challenge is the ultimate dream for mountaineers, climbing the tallest peak on every continent. It's a journey that demands incredible strength, perseverance, and sometimes life itself. From the icy slopes of Mount Vinson in Antarctica to the sweltering jungles of Papua's Puncak Jaya, the 7 summits span every corner of the globe. They're not just mountains, they're a test of willpower, resilience, and courage. And while some, like Kilimanjaro, are accessible to beginners, others, like Everest, demand months of preparation and a price tag that could rival a luxury car. But here's the catch. Not everyone who takes on the 7 summits makes it back. In 1995, the legendary mountaineer Rob Hall froze to death just meters from Everest's summit. He had conquered 5 of the 7 peaks, but never completed his quest. And the costs? Climbing all 7 summits could set you back over $200 or $1,000, more than the price of a house in many places. So, why do people do it? What drives them to risk everything for these mountains? In this video, we'll take you on a journey to uncover the secrets of the 7 summits. We'll dive deep into the preparation, dangers, costs, and tips for tackling each peak. Whether you're planning your first climb or just here for inspiration, you're in the right place. This is going to be a longer video, so feel free to skip around. Each mountain has its own timestamp listed in the description. Thank you for tuning in. So, whether you're gearing up for your next hike or just grabbing a coffee, let's set off on an unforgettable adventure together. Kilimanjaro, Africa. Standing at 5,895 meters, 19,341 feet, Kilimanjaro is the world's tallest freestanding mountain. Located in Tanzania, its iconic snow-capped peak rises above the African savanna. While it's technically a non-technical climb, don't let that fool you. It's a test of endurance and altitude tolerance. Aconcagua, South America. Next, we head to Argentina for Aconcagua, the highest peak in the Western Hemisphere, at 6,961 meters, 22,137 feet. Known for its barren, wind-swept landscapes, this is a climb that demands exceptional fitness. Altitude sickness and strong winds are constant challenges. Denali, North America. Up in Alaska, Denali, at 6,190 meters, 2,310 feet, is not only North America's highest peak, but also one of the coldest and most unforgiving. The sheer isolation, heavy loads, and technical glacier travel make it a true test of mountaineering skill. Mount Elbrus, Europe. Mount Elbrus, at 5,642 meters, 18,510 feet, is Europe's highest peak, nestled in the Russian Caucasus. It's often considered one of the easier 7 summits, but sudden storms and icy conditions can make it dangerous for the unprepared. Mount Vinson, Antarctica. At 4,892 meters, 16,050 feet, Mount Vinson might be the smallest of the 7 summits, but don't underestimate it. Located in one of the most remote and extreme environments on Earth, the logistics alone make this climb a monumental challenge. Mount Everest, Asia. And of course, Mount Everest, Earth's highest peak at 8,849 meters, 29,032 feet. Located in the Himalayas, Everest is a symbol of human ambition, but it's also a place of incredible risk, with avalanches, frostbite, and sheer exhaustion claiming lives every year. Puncak Jaya, Mount Kosciuszko, Oceania. Finally, there's Oceania, where the debate continues. If you're counting the highest peak on mainland Australia, Mount Kosciuszko at 2,228 meters, 7,310 feet, is an easy trek. But if you consider the true continental plate, Puncak Jaya, or Karsten's Pyramid at 4,884 meters, 16,024 feet, in Papua, Indonesia, is the real challenge. It requires technical rock climbing and navigating dense jungles just to reach the base. When comparing these peaks, it's clear each offers a unique challenge. Everest, Aconcagua, and Denali stand out for their sheer height and difficulty, while Vinson and Puncak Jaya pose logistical hurdles due to their remoteness. Kilimanjaro and Elbrus are more accessible but still demand respect and preparation. Together, the 7 summits represent the ultimate mountaineering achievement, combining diverse environments and skills. Now that you know the 7 summits, let's dive into each mountain's unique journey, starting with Kilimanjaro, the roof of Africa. Kilimanjaro. Known as the roof of Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro stands at 5,895 meters, 19,341 feet. It's the tallest freestanding mountain in the world and one of the most accessible of the 7 summits. No ropes, no technical climbing, just you, your determination, and the mountain. Despite being considered the easiest of the 7 summits, don't underestimate Kilimanjaro. It's a trek through 5 distinct climate zones, starting in tropical rainforests, passing through alpine meadows, and ending on the icy summit. It's a journey that's as breathtaking as it is challenging. Fun fact, only about 60% of climbers make it to the top. Most fail, not because of fitness, but because they underestimate the effects of altitude. Preparation is key to conquering Kilimanjaro. You don't need to be an elite athlete, but a solid fitness base will make a huge difference. Focus on cardio, endurance, and leg strength. Practice hiking with a backpack loaded with 5-10 kilograms. It mimics what you'll carry on the trek. Packing the right gear is equally important. Sturdy waterproof boots, a warm sleeping bag, layered clothing for sudden temperature changes, and most importantly, sunscreen. Yes, sunscreen. Many trekkers are surprised by the intensity of the sun at high altitude. And don't forget, acclimatization is critical. Take the time to let your body adjust. It's not about racing to the summit, it's about reaching it safely. Altitude sickness is the #1 challenge on Kilimanjaro. Symptoms like headaches, nausea, and dizziness can strike even the fittest trekkers. That's why the saying goes, pole, or slowly in Swahili. The slower you climb, the better your chances of avoiding altitude issues. Here's a story to illustrate why. In 2018, a climber pushed too fast, ignoring the guide's warnings. By day 4, he was airlifted off the mountain with severe altitude sickness. The summit isn't worth your life. Listen to your body and your guides. Climbing Kilimanjaro isn't cheap, but it's worth every penny. Guided treks typically range from $2,000 to $5,000, depending on the route and level of comfort. This includes guides, porters, food, and park fees. But remember to budget for tips. Porters are the backbone of every expedition, and their hard work makes the climb possible. There are several routes to the top, each offering a different experience. The Mashame route, also called the Whiskey route, is scenic but challenging. The Meringue route, or Coca-Cola route, is easier but less visually stunning. For those who want the best chance of success, the Lemosho route offers more time for acclimatization and fewer crowds. Personally, I'd recommend the Lemosho route. The extra days on the mountain make a world of difference, and the views of the Shira Plateau are unforgettable. Here's how to maximize your chances of success on Kilimanjaro. First, choose a longer route. The extra time on the mountain improves acclimatization and boosts your odds of summiting. Second, stay hydrated and eat even if you lose your appetite. Your body needs the fuel. And finally, trust your guides. They've summited countless times and know exactly what you need to do to get there safely. Reaching the top of Kilimanjaro isn't just a physical challenge, it's an emotional journey. Imagine standing on the summit, the sun rising over Africa, knowing you've achieved something incredible. That's a moment you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. And that's Kilimanjaro, the roof of Africa and the perfect gateway to the 7 summits. Next, we'll head across the Atlantic to South America, where Aconcagua awaits. Aconcagua. Welcome to Aconcagua, the Sentinel of Stone and the highest peak outside of Asia. Standing at a staggering 6,961 meters, 22,837 feet, Aconcagua is the crowning jewel of South America and one of the toughest 7 summits to conquer. This is where raw endurance meets the harshest elements. Known for its barren, windswept beauty, Aconcagua is not a technical climb. But don't be fooled, it's a monumental challenge. The altitude, freezing winds, and steep terrain make it a true test of physical and mental stamina. Despite its difficulties, it attracts thousands of climbers each year, drawn by the chance to stand atop the highest point in the Western Hemisphere. Preparing for Aconcagua is all about endurance and strength. You'll need to carry heavy loads, up to 20 kilograms, 45 pounds, on steep, rocky slopes, so focus on strength training for your legs and core. Include hikes with weighted backpacks in your training regimen to simulate the real conditions. Acclimatization is another critical factor. Consider doing a trek or climb at altitude before attempting Aconcagua. The higher camps sit at 5,000 meters, 16,400 feet or more, and proper preparation can make the difference between success and turning back. The dangers of Aconcagua are as severe as its beauty. High winds, sometimes over 80 kilometers per hour, can turn a sunny day into a fight for survival. Temperatures can plummet to 30 degrees Celsius, 22 degrees Fahrenheit at night. And altitude sickness is a constant threat, with symptoms often appearing at base camp. One climber once described Aconcagua as a mountain that doesn't kill quickly. It kills slowly. In 2019, an experienced climber tragically died after pushing through severe altitude sickness. A reminder of the mountain's unforgiving nature. Respect the conditions, listen to your body, and don't hesitate to turn back if needed. Climbing Aconcagua comes with a hefty price tag. Guided expeditions typically cost between $4,000 and $7,000 depending on the services provided. This includes permits, guides, meals, and logistics. For independent climbers, costs can be lower, but you'll need to arrange your own gear, food, and mule support for carrying loads to base camp. There are two main routes to the summit, the normal route and the Polish glacier route. The normal route is the most popular, with a gradual ascent and relatively straightforward terrain. However, it can get crowded during peak season. The Polish glacier route is for more experienced climbers. It's steeper, more technical, and requires crampons and ice axes. While it offers a quieter experience, it's also significantly more dangerous. If you're aiming for Aconcagua, here are some tips to increase your chances of success. First, train for carrying heavy gear over steep, rocky terrain. Your legs and shoulders will thank you. Second, pack high-quality cold weather gear. Frostbite is a real risk at higher camps. Third, take your time to acclimatize, even if you're feeling strong. Altitude sickness can hit hard and fast. And finally, enjoy the journey. The views from the summit are stunning, but the real reward is the camaraderie and resilience you'll develop along the way. That's Aconcagua, a mountain of extremes and one of the crown jewels of the 7 summits. Next, we'll journey north to Alaska, where the icy heights of Denali await. Denali, the high one, is the tallest peak in North America at 6,190 meters, 20,310 feet. Located in Alaska, Denali is not just a mountain, it's a battleground. With its extreme weather, technical demands, and sheer remoteness, it's often considered one of the most challenging climbs in the world. Denali is a mountain of superlatives. It has some of the coldest temperatures on Earth, with summit winds that can exceed 100 kilometers per hour, and temperatures dropping as low as 40 degrees Celsius, 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Climbers face one of the largest elevation gains of any mountain, over 4,000 meters, 13,000 feet, from base camp to the summit. Add to that the isolation, and you've got a peak that demands respect from even the most seasoned mountaineers. Preparation for Denali is intense. You'll need to carry heavy loads, up to 30 kilograms, 66 pounds, through deep snow and over steep slopes, so train with weighted backpacks and focus on leg and core strength. Endurance training, like long hikes or climbs, is essential to handle the physical toll of weeks on the mountain. Rope skills and glacier travel are non-negotiable. You'll spend most of the climb navigating crevassed terrain, and knowing how to arrest a fall or perform a crevasse rescue could save your life. Practicing these skills before your expedition is critical. Denali's dangers are as legendary as the mountain itself. Frostbite is a constant threat, with exposed skin freezing in minutes at high altitudes. Crevasses, hidden cracks in the glaciers, can swallow climbers without warning. And then there's the weather. Unpredictable storms can pin climbers in their tents for days, draining their food and morale. One story that sticks out is from 1997, when a sudden storm trapped 12 climbers near the summit. Some managed to descend, but 5 tragically lost their lives. Denali doesn't forgive mistakes. It demands preparation and caution every step of the way. Climbing Denali isn't just physically demanding, it's financially demanding too. Guided expeditions typically cost between $8,000 and $12,000, covering permits, guides, and logistics. For independent climbers, costs can be lower, but you'll need to manage everything yourself, from food to crevasse rescue gear. Remember, the cost of safety, like high-quality gear or hiring experienced guides, is worth every penny. The West Buttress is Denali's most popular and accessible route. It's non-technical but physically grueling, with steep inclines, heavy loads, and extreme conditions. The route starts at the Kahiltna Glacier, winding through iconic spots like Windy Corner and the 14,000-foot camp before pushing to the summit. Other routes, like the Cassine Ridge, are far more technical and reserved for elite climbers, requiring advanced skills in ice and mixed climbing. If Denali is on your list, here are some tips to help you succeed. First, practice carrying heavy loads on steep, uneven terrain to build the endurance you'll need. Second, develop your glacier travel skills. Know how to use crampons, ice axes, and ropes effectively. Third, prepare for the mental challenge. Spending weeks in freezing temperatures, often confined to a tent during storms, can wear you down. Lastly, pace yourself. Denali is a marathon, not a sprint. Many climbers fail because they burn out early or ignore signs of exhaustion. Remember, reaching the summit is optional. Getting back safely is mandatory. Denali is the ultimate test of grit and perseverance, a peak that rewards those who are prepared and patient. Next, we'll cross the Atlantic to Europe, where Mount Elbrus awaits, an entirely different kind of challenge. Elbrus. Welcome to Mount Elbrus, Europe's highest peak, standing at 5,642 meters, 18,510 feet. Located in the Russian Caucasus, Elbrus is a dormant volcano and one of the more beginner-friendly climbs of the 7 summits. But don't let its gentle reputation fool you. This mountain still has challenges that demand preparation and respect. Mount Elbrus is often described as a perfect introduction to high-altitude climbing. Its snow-covered slopes and non-technical routes attract climbers from around the world. However, its weather can turn from calm to chaotic in minutes, making it a mountain that requires caution and planning. Despite being considered beginner-friendly, altitude sickness remains a significant challenge for those who underestimate the climb. Preparing for Elbrus involves moderate trekking training and basic snow skills. Focus on building endurance with long hikes and practice using crampons on icy terrain. While Elbrus doesn't require technical climbing, you'll still need to navigate steep, snowy slopes, especially near the summit. Acclimatization is crucial, so spend a few days hiking at altitude before attempting the summit. Many climbers choose guided trips that include acclimatization treks, which significantly increase the chances of success. The greatest dangers on Mount Elbrus are sudden weather changes and altitude sickness. The mountain is notorious for unpredictable storms that can bring whiteout conditions, making navigation nearly impossible. Even in the summer months, temperatures can drop below freezing, with high winds adding to the challenge. Altitude sickness is another concern. At over 5,600 meters, the thin air can cause headaches, nausea, and exhaustion. One climber recounted feeling fine at base camp, only to be forced to turn back just 200 meters below the summit due to dizziness and disorientation. Acclimatization and pacing are your best defenses against these risks. Mount Elbrus is one of the more affordable 7 summits, with guided expeditions typically costing between $1,500 and $4,000. This includes permits, guides, accommodation, and meals. For independent climbers, costs can be as low as $1,000, but you'll need to manage your own logistics, including transportation to the mountain and arranging gear rentals. Elbrus has 2 main routes, the south route and the north route. The south route is the most popular, with easier terrain and more infrastructure, including chairlifts that take you partway up the mountain. It's a great option for those looking for a straightforward climb. The north route, on the other hand, is less crowded and offers a more rugged experience. It requires more effort, as there's no assistance from lifts, but many climbers find the solitude and wilderness worth the extra challenge. If you're planning to climb Elbrus, here are some tips for a successful ascent. First, acclimatize properly. Take extra days to let your body adjust to the altitude, especially if you're new to high-altitude trekking. Second, invest in good quality crampons and waterproof boots. The summit slopes can be icy even in summer. Third, always check the weather forecast and be prepared for sudden changes. Storms can roll in quickly. Finally, enjoy the journey. Elbrus offers incredible views of the Caucasus Mountains and a chance to immerse yourself in the beauty of one of Europe's most iconic peaks. Mount Elbrus may be the easiest of the 7 summits, but it's still a rewarding and unforgettable climb. Next, we'll venture to the icy wilderness of Antarctica, where Mount Vinson awaits, one of the most remote and demanding peaks on Earth. Mount Vinson. Welcome to Mount Vinson, the highest peak in Antarctica, standing at 4,892 meters, 16,050 feet. Remote, icy, and unforgiving, this mountain tests climbers not only physically but also logistically. It's a place where the silence is deafening, the cold bites deeper than you can imagine, and preparation is everything. Mount Vinson is part of the Ellsworth Range, a chain of peaks rising sharply from Antarctica's vast ice sheet. Its remote location makes it one of the least climbed 7 summits, attracting adventurers who crave the challenge of isolation and extreme conditions. But make no mistake, this is not a mountain you tackle lightly. The journey to get here is almost as challenging as the climb itself. Preparation for Mount Vinson is all about surviving the extreme cold. Start by honing your cold weather survival skills. Practice layering your clothing, managing frostbite risks, and handling gear with thick gloves. Glacier training is essential too, as you'll spend most of the climb navigating crevasses and icy slopes. Pulling sleds is another skill you'll need. Climbers on Mount Vinson often carry supplies on their backs and drag sleds across the snow, so practice hauling weighted sleds over long distances. Finally, get comfortable camping in sub-zero temperatures. Nights on the ice can be brutally cold, with the wind cutting through even the warmest tents. The dangers of Mount Vinson are tied to its environment. Frostbite is a constant threat. Temperatures can drop below 30 degrees Celsius, 22 degrees Fahrenheit, and even brief exposure to the wind can cause severe damage. The mountain's remoteness adds another layer of risk. If something goes wrong, rescue is incredibly complicated and self-reliance becomes critical. One climber recalled a harrowing moment when a sudden storm hit during their descent. With visibility reduced to almost zero, they had to navigate back to camp using only their GPS and a rope. The lesson? Be prepared for anything and never let your guard down. Climbing Mount Vinson is as expensive as it is challenging. Expeditions cost between $30,000 and $45,000, with the bulk of that expense going toward logistics. This includes flights to Antarctica, chartered planes to the mountain, and specialized guides. It's a steep price to pay, but the chance to climb one of the most remote peaks on Earth is priceless for many adventurers. The normal route is the standard path up Mount Vinson. It's not technically difficult, but the extreme cold and high altitude make it physically demanding. The route starts at base camp, ascends through the Branscombe Glacier, and climbs steep snow slopes to reach the summit ridge. With proper guidance and preparation, it's a manageable climb for those with prior experience in cold, high-altitude environments. If you're planning to tackle Mount Vinson, here are some tips for success. First, invest in the highest quality cold weather gear you can afford. Your gloves, boots, and jacket can mean the difference between comfort and frostbite. Second, join an experienced team. The logistical and environmental challenges of Antarctica are best navigated with experts by your side. Third, practice camping and climbing in extreme cold before your expedition. The better prepared you are, the more you'll enjoy the experience. And finally, embrace the isolation. There's nothing quite like standing on top of Mount Vinson, surrounded by nothing but ice, snow, and silence. It's a moment of pure, untouched beauty. Mount Vinson is as much about the journey as the summit, a test of patience, preparation, and perseverance in one of the most extreme places on Earth. Next, we'll head to the highest peak in the world, Mount Everest, where the ultimate challenge awaits. Mount Everest, Earth's highest peak at 8,849 meters, 29,032 feet. This mountain has captivated adventurers for centuries, representing the pinnacle of human achievement. But Everest isn't just a climb. It's a journey of extreme physical and mental endurance, where the risks are as high as the rewards. Located in the heart of the Himalayas, Everest towers above every other mountain on Earth. It's iconic, yet demanding, and for many climbers, it's the ultimate goal. However, the allure of the summit comes with significant challenges. Freezing temperatures, thin air, and the constant threat of avalanches make this a climb like no other. Preparing for Everest requires months, if not years, of intense training. Focus on building endurance with long-distance running, hiking, and cycling. Strengthen your core and legs to handle the grueling ascents and descents. High-altitude acclimatization is crucial. Spend time on 6,000-meter-plus peaks to prepare your body for the lack of oxygen. You'll also need to master the use of supplemental oxygen, which is vital for most climbers above 8,000 meters. Practice using oxygen masks and systems during training climbs to ensure you're comfortable with the equipment. Mount Everest is as dangerous as it is majestic. Avalanches, crevasses, and falling ice are constant threats. Altitude sickness is a major concern, with symptoms ranging from headaches to life-threatening conditions like high-altitude pulmonary or cerebral edema. In recent years, overcrowding has become another hazard. In 2019, over 200 climbers waited in line near the summit, leading to delays that contributed to multiple fatalities. One climber described the experience as a traffic jam in the death zone, where every second counts. Climbing Everest is a financial commitment as well as a physical one. Guided expeditions cost between $40,000 and $100,000, depending on the level of support. This includes permits, guides, porters, oxygen systems, and logistics. Budget climbers may spend less, but cutting corners on safety is a dangerous gamble. There are two main routes to the summit: the South Col route from Nepal, and the North Ridge route from Tibet. The South route is more popular and has a higher success rate, but it also attracts more climbers, increasing the risk of overcrowding. The North route is less congested but involves more technical climbing and harsher conditions, particularly on the exposed final ridge. If Everest is on your bucket list, here are some tips for a successful climb. First, gain experience on smaller peaks above 6,000 meters. Everest isn't a mountain for beginners. Second, train with supplemental oxygen to get used to the equipment you'll rely on in the death zone. Third, choose your guide carefully. Experienced Sherpas and expedition leaders can make all the difference. Finally, remember that reaching the summit is optional, but returning home safely is mandatory. Stay aware of your limits and be prepared to turn back if conditions become too dangerous. Mount Everest is a dream, a challenge, and a legacy. For those who reach its summit, it's a life-changing moment. But the journey doesn't end here. Our final destination takes us to Oceania, where the debate over its highest peak adds a unique twist to the Seven Summits Challenge. Puncak Jaya. Oceania presents a unique twist in the Seven Summits Challenge, offering two vastly different peaks, Puncak Jaya, also known as Karsten's Pyramid, and Mount Kosciuszko. At 4,884 meters, 16,024 feet, Puncak Jaya is a technical and remote climb in Papua, while Mount Kosciuszko, at 2,228 meters, 7,310 feet, is a gentle trek through the Australian Alps. Both are considered the highest peaks of Oceania, depending on how you define the continent's boundaries. Puncak Jaya is the highest peak on the Australian continental plate, making it the choice for purists. Its jungle approach, technical rock climbing, and remote location make it one of the most challenging of the seven summits. In contrast, Mount Kosciuszko is the highest peak on mainland Australia. With its rolling terrain and mild weather, it's a great option for beginners. Preparation depends on the peak you choose. For Puncak Jaya, you'll need to train for technical rock climbing, including the use of harnesses and ropes. The approach to the base camp involves navigating dense jungle, so practice hiking with heavy loads through humid, muddy terrain. Physical and mental stamina are essential for this adventure. For Mount Kosciuszko, preparation is much simpler. Basic trekking skills and moderate fitness are all you need. Pack lightweight gear, as the trails are well marked and not overly steep. It's a mountain anyone can enjoy, even families with young children. Puncak Jaya presents significant dangers, from logistical challenges to the physical demands of rock climbing. The jungle approach is unpredictable, with torrential rain, slippery trails, and the potential for delays. The climb itself involves exposed sections of rock that require technical skills and a steady head. On the other hand, Mount Kosciuszko is safe and straightforward. The biggest risk here might be forgetting your sunscreen on a sunny day. The cost of these climbs varies dramatically. Puncak Jaya is one of the most expensive seven summits, with costs ranging from $10,000 to $15,000. This includes permits, guides, and helicopter transport to the jungle base camp. Mount Kosciuszko, in contrast, is incredibly affordable. You can complete the hike for less than $1,000, including transportation and park fees. Puncak Jaya has only one guided route, which involves technical rock climbing and fixed ropes to navigate the exposed sections. It's a challenging but rewarding climb for experienced adventurers. Mount Kosciuszko offers several easy trails to the summit. The most popular is the Kosciuszko Walk, which starts at Threadbow and includes a scenic chairlift ride to the trailhead. The summit trail is another option, beginning at Charlotte Pass and offering a slightly longer route. If you're tackling Puncak Jaya, choose a reputable guide company to handle the complex logistics and ensure your safety on the climb. Train for technical rock climbing and be prepared for the physical demands of the jungle approach. Pack for wet conditions and expect delays. It's all part of the adventure. For Mount Kosciuszko, wear comfortable hiking shoes and bring layers for changing weather conditions. Don't forget your camera, as the views from the summit are stunning. This is the perfect climb for anyone looking for a low-stress introduction to the seven summits. Whether you choose the rugged adventure of Puncak Jaya or the accessible beauty of Mount Kosciuszko, Oceania offers something for everyone. To conclude, the seven summits are more than just mountains, they're milestones. Each peak offers a unique challenge, from the icy heights of Everest to the technical rock faces of Puncak Jaya, the wild beauty of Denali, and the beginner-friendly trails of Kosciuszko. Together, they represent the ultimate test of endurance, resilience, and a deep connection to nature. We've explored the world's highest peaks on each continent: Kilimanjaro, the roof of Africa; Aconcagua, the giant of the Americas; Denali, the frozen titan of the north; Elbrus, Europe's snow-capped gem, Mount Vinson, Antarctica's remote sentinel, Everest, the roof of the world, and Puncak Jaya, or Kosciuszko, showcasing Oceania's diverse landscapes. Each mountain brings its own set of challenges and rewards, making this journey a truly global adventure. But the 7 summits aren't just for elite mountaineers. They're for anyone with the courage to dream big, set goals, and work toward them. Whether you're planning your first trek or setting your sights on Everest, the journey starts with a single step. These mountains teach us that the climb is just as important as the summit. Every challenge faced and every lesson learned shapes us along the way. You don't have to climb all 7 at once. Start with a peak that excites you. Train, prepare, and take it one step at a time. Before you know it, you'll be standing at the top, looking out over a world that you've worked so hard to conquer. Now it's your turn. What's your dream climb? Are you ready to tackle Kilimanjaro? Or is Everest calling your name? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories from the world's highest peaks. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey across the 7 summits. Wherever your adventures take you, remember, it's not just about reaching the top, it's about the climb, the people you meet, and the memories you create along the way. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep climbing, and keep exploring.